ends. A product of boredom. A product of nothingness.
Anything you want me to be. Yeah, welcome back to Anything You Want Me to Be Radio.
Hey, I already said that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna introduce the episode. Yeah, so this one is about something we've talked about on Unknown Space Radio. It's about dreams because I was
going to say that.
Yeah, so it's a dream episode because I have been having some pretty strange dreams. I don't know why. Maybe it's excessive melatonin, I assume.
I was going to say that we've come full circle and we're talking about dreams again.
Yeah, we're back to a square one, or perhaps square two, I suppose.
I think it was episode 2 of Unknown Space Radio.
Yeah, square two. So here we are. Yeah, I'm under the notion that you also have a dream to share, so we'll get to that when we do.
But mine is kind of bad.
Some of mine are pretty bad, but we could air this past the, the safe hours.
Yeah. Just a fair warning. I don't know what Tom's got to talk about, but mine is like graphic, like violence. So there's a little fair warning to that. And Tom, if you want to go ahead and flag your thing.
Yeah, mine too is very, they could be violent. Some of them are kind of silly, which is cool that we have some in there. But yeah, fair warning. If you are sensitive to graphic imagery, this
episode may not be for you.
Yeah, this episode's not for you. So we suggest skedat. Recommend it to a friend, though, who is not sensitive to that. Bear with me, but I call this collection of dreams the Inspector Gadget Trilogy. Because in these dreams, there are 3 dreams. One of them has more content to it. The other ones are pretty short. But yeah, in these dreams, I'm Inspector Gadget for some reason. It's really cool.
That explains your Instagram posts.
No, I've been talking about it on Instagram like quite a bit.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so you might have heard of some of these. But yeah, the first one I was Inspector Gadget just in the zombie apocalypse. There's not much to this dream, but it's cool because gotta go Gadget, you know? This is dope. Did you ever watch Inspector Gadget when you were younger? Like the show, the cartoon, or the movie?
I watched, I think, part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't watch the show at all.
Oh, well, all you need to know is he's got some cool gadgets.
Yeah, I know the premise of his Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget in the zombie apocalypse, kind of cool. The second one is where it gets more surreal, because this time I was Inspector Gadget, but I was also somehow God, I think. I was in like some space tower overviewing the Earth, and I was like hearing a voice that I can only assume was God or something. And it was giving me instruction, kind of telling me that I have the power to end the world. And I have to make the decision if the Earth ends or does it continue. Not even the Earth, really just humanity itself. Whether or not to end humanity or continue it. So I had to come up with a decision, and I had to come up with it fast. So I had written a manifesto declaring the end of the world, and it was to be distributed to every human on Earth via television, newspaper, internet, however it could get through to everybody. And that manifesto declaring the end of the world eventually reached Earth, and everybody read it. And what the manifesto had been declaring was basically, they have 3 days to live. So use your time wisely. And I used this as a test because I wanted to see what kind of, people I was dealing with. I wanted to see what they used their time to do. And
if there was any redemption whatsoever.
yeah. But yeah, as soon as they started like understanding the premises of it, they all just started getting into the most depraved acts possible, which you could kind of guess what that might entail. Yeah, they were just shot down into depravity, like on a downward spiral. And immediately I was like, no, these people are not redeemable. They should not live, I suppose. So I was playing God, and I ended the world, specifically humanity. I don't really remember how. No, I do remember how. Like, as soon as I found that out, I was like, yeah, no. And I remember seeing a bunch of like volcanoes start erupting, tsunamis start coming through, and just wiping out humanity. And it was, I don't know, I woke up and I questioned what would I actually do in that situation. I can't help but think I would do exactly what I did, to be honest.
That's a hard one, just because like I feel like if humanity was put into a situation like that, I think you're right. I think there would be a lot of like
depravity.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of heinous things happening. But at the same time too, it's like there is also a lot of good and innocent in the world.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that could really triumph the evil?
It can't. It can't. But it's just the fact that you're going to lose that as well, I think is what's the harshest part about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was very, I don't know. It's obviously a hard decision, kind of a hard what if, I suppose. But I think I stick by my decision.
So I have to ask you, do you think Thanos was right?
Was Thanos right to get rid of half the population? He had the Infinity Gauntlet. He could just make more resources, man. Anyways, now it brings me to the final Inspector Gadget dream. This one was a lot more, I would say, less surreal, but it's still very surreal. In this one, I was again Inspector Gadget, but this time I was doing actually Inspector Gadget things, because he's kind of like a detective or whatever in the show or movie and such. And yeah, I was doing detective work. I was at a school which looked like a blend of my high school and elementary school. And apparently, recently they had just had a school shooting, but the shooter had not been caught. So I, as Inspector Gadget, was doing what I could to find the shooter. And so most of the stream, I'm like going around the high school, kind of just asking around about it. And I also had, you didn't watch the original cartoon, but he had like a little sidekick. Her name was Penny. And yeah, she was like with me in the dream. It's kind of cool. She was actually not very helpful. She became helpful later, but she was just kind of annoying me a lot. And so yeah, I was going around the school asking. There's a lot of familiar faces in there too. A lot of people I went to high school with. Very gross. I didn't like high school, so.
I feel like we've established that on both ends that we didn't like high school.
Yeah, lame, boring, dumb, stupid. Anyways,
a waste of my time.
Waste of my time. Yeah, so Inspector Gadget going around the high school investigating, and I had gone out to the soccer field because some tip led me over there, and there's like a soccer team playing, right? So I stopped their game, and I pointed over to some raggedy, dingy looking house that was on the soccer field, and I had asked them, do they know anything about that house? And they telling me like, oh yeah, the shooter most definitely lives there. So I had like, with that tip in mind, I was slowly approaching the house. And then the front door opens, and it was kind of like a cartoon moment where you can't really see in the house, but you know somebody's standing there. And then, yeah, some kid with a gun comes out, starts gunning down everybody on the soccer field. And I did the whole go-go gadget, I don't know what it's called, like spring legs. You know when his legs like turn into springs and he's able to like bounce around and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that. So I was bouncing around to like evade the bullets. And he kept trying to come at me, but I kept evading and just running away. I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I had ran to the back on campus away from the soccer field. And I had reconvened with Penny, my little sidekick. And I had like a note that kind of stated that the shooter lives in that house. And I was just freaking out. I was like, I need you to take this to the police department. Give this to them as quick as possible. And I gave her the note. And as soon as I gave it to her, her head just explodes right on me. And I look back and the shooter has like breached campus. And I just felt super, how do I say, regretful. Because I knew I should have dealt with it when I was still on campus. Because now Penny's dead and now the shooter is shooting down everybody in sight. So I did the go-go gadget spring legs as well, and he's trying to shoot me or whatever. And eventually I did like go-go gadget brick, which wasn't a thing from the show, but I had like a brick in my hand. So I like threw it at his head, whatever. And now he was down or whatever, and I had pretty much dealt with him. Granted at a cost, because now there's a lot of people that were gone. And so yeah, the police came, whatever, they're dealing with that. So I thought I'd go back to the house and check it out. And I approach the house. I go in, and it's like the house from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And like Leatherface and his family of like weird inbred hillbilly cannibals are in there. And now they're like chasing me. And I think I was like really scared at this moment. So I had told myself to wake up, and I woke up then and there. That part was like probably the most surreal. But yeah, Inspector Gadget versus a mass murder. That was insane. That was like the most vivid one of the three, I think.
We'll be back with more Anything You Want Me to Be Radio, but first we're going to take a quick PSA break.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
In healthcare, misinformation can be as deadly as the most serious disease and spread just as quickly. For years now, myths about childhood immunizations have been spreading on the internet and social media. The physicians of the Illinois State Medical Society urge parents to know the facts and get your child immunized. Immunizations are scientifically proven to be safe and effective, and failure to immunize can harm your children and others. Talk to your child's doctor to get the facts about immunizations.
So this one has stuck with me quite a bit. Like, usually I have dreams about, like, people and, like, people that aren't around anymore. And those dreams, like, stick with me more than anything. So one thing, I dream about, like, events that, like, transpire. No, take two. When I dream about, like, other things that don't have to do with people that I'm, like, I guess dwelling over, or people that are currently in my life, I don't remember them, but this one really got me. This one was like, I don't know, last month. I was at a pool, and it was like a hotel pool. It was huge. And I was swimming around, like, just being stupid in a pool. And I saw these two people, and they were kind of like freaky looking. They definitely like looked like they didn't belong there. I was like, whatever. They left, and I was still swimming around. And I don't want to go into like detail of like what I was doing while I was swimming, but that was like a good half of the dream was just me messing around in the pool. And I remember we were in like a room and everyone was sleeping, and I was like looking at something on the internet, And I saw the same two people, like, being, like, tortured. You know...
On the internet?
Yeah, like, on the internet.
Like the people that were in the dream with you, in the pool, I mean?
Yeah, the people that I had just seen, like, earlier, quote-unquote, that day.
Oh, what the heck?
And I've seen a lot of, like, really disturbing things, because, you know, being a kid and, like, having access to the internet.
Dangerous.
You can see a lot of messed up stuff on the internet.
Oh, yeah. See,
this one,
episode
like,
3 of Year of the Fool, I think. I think it was episode 3. Go on, though.
This one really stuck with me because their skin, like, it was like a massive group of people that was, like, torturing these people. And, like, they were, like, the whole time they were just trying to get away. But, like, their skin, like, they were completely naked. You know when, like, skin gets, like, really, 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 really scuffed and really, really thin, and you can see, like, the veins and stuff?
Yeah, like on old people?
Like, worse than that. Like, borderline, like, degloved. That's what they look like. Like, I could see every vein in their body, and, like, their bodies were, like, morphed at this point because of how badly skinned they were. And I think the lady had gotten away, but the guy... They, like, surrounded him, and at one point they cut open his arm and they were pulling on the muscle and, like, ripping the muscle out. And I could hear his screams, and they were so haunting. Like, it felt real. They felt like real screams. And they pull out this weird knife. It kind of looked like a karambit, but at the same time, like a pizza cutter. And they stabbed it into, like, his cheek area. And, like, ripped it down and out, and, like, it was weird because, like, knives don't work like this, but it was, like, it ripped through his bone, too. Like, his whole face, like, opened up. Like, you know the elites in Halo?
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Like Predator or something?
Yeah. That's how his face looked.
My God.
And then I got so disturbed in the dream that I turned it off. I was like, I can't watch this. And... there was a knife on my bed for some reason, and I went to go put it away. And I, like, flicked it somehow, and I cut open my finger, and my finger started bleeding. Like, you ever pressure wash something with, like, the sink? Like, you put your thumb on it, and it just, like, shoots out a bunch of water, like, super pressured?
Oh, sure.
That's how my finger started bleeding, and it started bleeding all over the place.
My God.
And then I woke up and I was like, what happened? But what disturbs me the most about, like, this dream is, like, why is that where my mind went to? Like, how did my mind make up these pictures? How did my mind make up this, like, story, if you will, you know? Womp.
I had my final dream. This one is a very strange one because, you know, as far as dreams go, have you ever had a dream that's not about you?
I don't know.
Like, usually dreams are about me. If I'm having it, usually I'm in the dream.
Yeah. Like, it takes place from your perspective?
Yeah. This one was not in my dream at all. Like, or it wasn't a dream, my bad. It had nothing to do with me, though. It was not from my perspective. As far as I can tell, I was nowhere in the dream whatsoever. This took place in a very small town that seemed kind of, I don't want to say primitive, because it seemed more kind of like early Victorian era for some reason. I think I had just watched the movie Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I feel like it's a good movie. I feel like it has to do with the two main protagonists, because, like, the dream was about these two girls that, like, lived with each other. So I assume they're, like, lovers or something. And whatchamacallit, one of them was a painter, and she had been, like, the best in town. And let me talk about the town first. But the town was like this awfully small, everybody knows everybody in it town, where they were very closed off to the outside world and very not desensitized to any brutal thing outside. For the most part, their whole aesthetic, I suppose, was kind of this cheerful, happy, blissful, sunny mood. And the painter lady, she was like the best in town, and she would always do like paintings of simple realism stuff, like fruit baskets, flowers, fields and such. Really pretty stuff. And her mother had gotten sick recently with some disease that was coming from outside the town. And I remember seeing her check up on her mother, and her mother had the most decrepit, rotting face ever. She looked like a zombie, to be honest. Very unhuman-like. Like her face was peeling off. Her skin was as thin as like an old person's, but probably worse than that too. And she had been missing an eyeball too, and her teeth were like rotting, and it was just disgusting all around. She was constantly bleeding and such. And the painter had seen nothing like it before. Especially in that town that was, how do I say, not desensitized to any brutal thing coming from outside the town. So the painter had decided to paint her mother. And she
Like
did,
exactly in the state that she was in?
yeah, in the brutal, decaying, rotten state she was in. She was just plagued with disease. And she had taken it to like some art festival in town. And immediately the whole town turned on her when they saw it. They were not, how do I say, versed in this kind of art. And they had seen nothing like it before. And they thought she was just being crude to be crude. Very. And so the town was gonna like kill her on the spot. They were gonna like hang her or something. And until she said, "Wait, I can prove it." And the whole town, you know, they thought, let's give her a chance. And she took the town to her house. And they approached her mother's room, which didn't have a door or anything, just had a curtain. And she took them to her mother. And she unveiled the curtain and showed the town her mother in that state. And they were all super appalled and very, how do I say, they marched into depravity after that. They turned very chaotic because they had seen nothing like this before. This was not something that was well in their world of... It was not something they saw in their reality. Because like I said, they're a very cheerful, happy town. No one dies here. No one is sad here. No one is blah 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 here. It was all very opposite of that. And just the sight of her mother was able to turn the town into... I mean, shit, threw them into chaos, really. That was a very strange dream I had, especially because it had nothing to do with me whatsoever. Felt like a glimpse into like another world, really.
Another universe?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that's what dreams are.
We talked about this.
We did, huh?
Yeah, that dreams could be potentially be like glimpses into other universe or other lives.
Yeah, I don't doubt it, especially with this one.
When you mean like it wasn't in your perspective and it didn't have anything to do with you, like how did you see it? Was it like watching a movie?
Kinda, yeah. I felt like it was mostly like I would say partly bird's eye view. Because I was nobody in that dream. It was like I was watching a movie. Yeah, I would say so.
Hey, so thanks for listening to us ramble about our dreams for the last hour. You can either believe us that we had these dreams or not. And if you don't, that's cool. It's just us expressing weird stuff that keeps happening in our dreams within the last couple months. So yeah, if you take melatonin and you get weird dreams too, I feel for you. And if you don't take melatonin, or you don't need to take melatonin, I'm envious of you. But if you ever have to take melatonin, just know that there's going to be some weird dreams.
Anything You Want Me to Be Radio, Volume 2, has been a production of KWDC 93.5 LPFM, Delta College Radio. This program is made possible by listeners like you. Programming is produced by the students, staff, and faculty of San Joaquin Delta College's Radio Television Department. It is supported by the Delta College Department of Arts, Humanities, and Multimedia, the Career Technical Education and Workforce Department Office, and the State of California. Thank you for listening.